an unexpected treasure here on this marriage record. Now let me blow this up a bit. Now, this comes from a video I did recently. Not too many people saw that, unfortunately, but you can go back into the channel and check that out. But what do these gangsters, boxers, and Justin Scott of Randomland have in common? What happened was, if we look here, this is Joseph Zerilli, and it turns out that he was part of the Detroit partnership of the mafia, the Sicilian mafia that was ruling the Detroit area, and showed how that connected to Justin Scott of Randomland and the Fighting Finazzo brothers. But if you look here, there was a treasure trove. I mean, I noticed all these names on here, and I was like, and Terracini, Carini. Let me blow that up maybe a little bit more. Carini and Terracini. Okay, still Palermo. We got one in Trapani. More from Terracini. And then Atoko in Brooklyn, because she was married to the gangster. Carini and Kefalu, which is also in Palermo. And two more in Terracini. And you can see all the names of witnesses, whatnot. Polizzi, Tocco, Palazzolo, Menza. This turned out to be an unexpected treasure of family history. So it wasn't just that I have a distant relation to the Detroit partnership, the gangsters. When I see names like this, and it's Terracini, Carini, DiMaggio, Tocco, Ruggieri, LaFata, Frontieri, I gotta be wondering if they're related to Mia Familia. So Monterosa, Palazzolo. Well, it turns out that all the ones that are highlighted are on my tree. So I want to go through that somewhat. But one of the first things I want to show you here, of course, this is the Detroit partnership that I mentioned in the previous video. What I was able to do was, you look here, that's the name of the church. And this is actually Detroit, Michigan.
Take him to Detroit. No, not Detroit. No.
And it was nice because they gave street addresses, which was really nice. So what I was able to do, thanks to Google Earth, this is actually the church that all of these marriages took place in. So that's why this church record is for this particular church right here in Detroit, 641 Chrysler Drive in Detroit, Michigan. So yeah, it's actually a pretty good picture there. Really cool we're able to find that. We'll go from the top here, and this is why it's really important to look at all the names on the record, especially if you're doing something like what I'm doing, where you're dealing with a particular town. You're going to have a lot of the same names. And so that's why when I saw LaFata, Ruggieri, Tocco, Palazzolo, Monterosa, I knew we were going to have some hits here. So I want to start with Carlo Manzella, and he's actually in St. Louis. And so Carl, let's see what we got. There's Carl. He is actually on my tree. And if you're interested in hiring me, when it comes to the western end of Palermo, I mean, I could do family history most places, but my forte is actually the western end of Palermo and the eastern part of Trapani, like Castellamare di Golfo. And my contact information is in the description, and you can also contact me on Facebook. Everyone on here, I was able to connect to my tree in less than, I don't know, 15 minutes, because I got a lot of connections in the Western Palermo province. So Carlos Manzella was actually in St. Louis, and that's where they went back. And so I was able to get his line back pretty far. We'll see. I got this line back. Wow, I got it back to 1710 in Terracini. So I got that line back pretty far, and he is distantly related to Mia Familia. Now, we've got I don't even know how to say. It's usually Geronimo, but for whatever reason they have the they have the other spelling here. But Geronimo Monterosa and Vincenzo LaFata, who are actually in Detroit. So that is them on my tree. Terracini, he of course is from Carini and passed away in Detroit. They are distantly related. And so the Monterosa line, I already had the Monterosa line on there, so there wasn't much to fill in, of course, like some of the other ones. But I have that line going back pretty far also. We're into the 1600s, so that goes back to Matteo Monterusso and Vincenza Di Maria. And I do have, and because they have their address here, I was able to go to Google Earth, and it is an empty lot right now. So back in 1922, there were, it looks like there were probably several buildings here, several houses, not there anymore. So we'll go down the line here. I did not do these. This would take a little bit more time. I'm sure I could connect the two of them to my tree. I have a lot of Navarro on my tree after doing the video for Castellamare di Golfo with Joe Bananas, the mob boss who was one of the original 5 families. Now we have Francesco DiMaggio and Elizabeth Tocco. And yes, Elizabeth Tocco is related to the one of the gangsters, William Tocco, who was part of the Detroit Partnership, one of the heads of that particular family. So there I have Francesco DiMaggio on my tree, and not too far back on that, on the DiMaggio line, because there is some records that I can't find. I don't know if they were actually necessarily married in Terracini, so but I was able to get pretty far back on the Palazzo, but I was able, I didn't get back. All right, I didn't get back too far on this particular line. I was able to go a bit far back on the Orlando line, but they are only distantly related to me. So we'll see if we can find their address in Detroit. It looks like it is still standing, so we will take our little man there and we'll go. Whoa, let's see. Wow. All right, that is supposed to be their house. Well, it says 26, but I don't know if that's referring to this particular house or not. $25.41. Let's try that again. $25.41. Oh, I get we'll have to. Well, that is McDougal. Let's see what we can do here. Well, this is 2539. So it could be one of these two houses there that they lived in at the time that they got married. That was where Francesco was living, but we can put in 3425 East Lafayette. So this is supposed to be, yeah, I don't think that house is standing anymore. So unfortunately, Elizabeth Tocco's home is no longer there. So let's go now to Giuseppe Ruggieri. We'll see where he is on my tree. All right, so there is Giuseppe Ruggieri, and his family was, because he was from Carini, he was already on my tree. So I got a decent amount of work done on that particular line, but he is only distantly related to me. But let's take a look at the last one, Giuseppe Lafata and Petra Frontieri. Let's see, they're both from Terracini. So there they are on my tree. I don't know if I was able to, I wasn't able to get too far back on Frontieri, but Lafata, I got a lot of Lafatas on the tree, and I was able to get a little further back there. But this little pickle line almost to 8, okay. So not too far back on there. That was a lot. That was a real unexpected treasure of family history I was able to find there. This is why you always want to scan the rest of the document. Get all the information. Just and look for the names. Because you might actually find something like this where almost everybody on this document is connected to me and my family and are on my tree.
Now go home and get your fucking shine box.